On people, we are Tottenham TV back here for another update for you guys. Spurs are in full-blown crisis. We don't have a manager at the moment, so let's talk about that manager situation, starting off with Julian Nagelsmann once again, as Christian Falk says that Julian Nagelsmann is on the shortlist for Chelsea if Graham Potter is sacked. Nagelsmann's agents do have a good connection with the club, and Matt Law says that Nagelsmann is the #1 target to permanently replace Antonio Conte, but candidates will not be encouraged to make any sort of commitment to Spurs during the current club's turmoil.
Yeah, exactly, and that doesn't surprise me. What club will want to looks at us and thinks this is a club that knows what they're doing and I can have a good relationship with? They're probably looking like, what's going on here? Who's going to be director of football? Is their best player going to stay? All these big questions up in the air, and I can't see any top manager right now just jumping at the chance without having an understanding of what the state of play is going to be when they come here. When it comes to Chelsea getting Nagelsmann, I do think Potter will be there next season. I don't think they're going to sack him this season. I think Bowley is clearly giving him every opportunity to build something, for at least for now. And unless and at the moment, I do see things improving at Chelsea. They're starting to get results. So if that continues, I don't see them sacking him at the end of the season. But if they have another slump, then I guess there is potential.
Yeah, I think there's always potential if things don't go according to plan from now until the end of the season. But in terms of getting managers in here with the current turmoil the club's at, I mean, it's so much more difficult when you've got like other massive clubs also looking for managers towards the end of the season, potentially Chelsea, potentially PSG, potentially Real Madrid. You know, you've got all these massive clubs all in the same pool for the same kind of managers, and we're ultimately just going to be bottom of the pile. And with this stuff happening over on top of it, we're probably even below bottom of the pile.
I know, even if we had a free run at it, it'd be hard to convince managers right now. So it's no surprise managers are taking their time, and we haven't really been able to convince anyone to take the job immediately, because why would you? Why would you risk your reputation and like that on?
Don't worry, they get paid handsomely to risk their reputation.
Nah, it doesn't matter. Like these guys, it's all about brand, and you know, they don't want to ruin that on the basis when they go into a club where the state of play isn't laid out there. Like, even Tottenham don't know what they're doing, so how can a manager know? Is
it even a reputation ruiner coming to Tottenham anymore? Because it's just like they go on to their next club and they win trophies anyway. So
yeah,
I mean, like, what reputation?
Well, Nuno did.
Exactly, Nuno has, Mourinho has. Conte,
no, I'm saying Nuno's ruined his reputation.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess so.
He has,
but I think that
Ramos kind of did.
Even Nuno like went on to win a trophy after he left Spurs, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but no one's touching him into the barge pile at the moment.
Like Mourinho and Conte are not going to ruin their reputations coming here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Nuno. Yeah, but that's different because they've got that elite status. But a manager maybe who's still like not have that elite background to fall back on, like someone like Nuno. He's had to take a job in Saudi Arabia because no one else will touch him now after his Tottenham job. Yeah. Where did Ramos do? Ramos did nothing after Tottenham, didn't he? I mean, although he did manage Real Madrid. Forget that. We're glossing over that. But he was there for a short time, and then he couldn't get a real top job.
These managers were at Spurs for like months. You know what I mean? Like the actual managers, like I'm talking about, other managers, maybe like the Pochettinos, the Joses, the Contes. They're not going to ruin their reputation. If we're looking to bring in a manager of maybe not that stature, but of that ilk, like a Luis Enrique, like a Nagelsmann, who obviously have very good names in the game, I think if they were to come here and fall foul of a year, then their reputation, I don't think, will be ruined.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe.
Moving on to Luis Enrique, we've got some quotes from Enrique, and he says, "I would like to go to England to work. I follow English football a lot more than Spanish. It's a very interesting league. I don't hide it. I would like to go to work there. I would like to try an experience in the Premier League, but I'll only accept an interesting project. I'd only join a club where I can do big, important things. I've received proposal from national teams. I keep all options open."
So it's ruling out Tottenham, basically.
Pretty much ruling out Tottenham. And Romano chimed in on it as well, just reiterating the fact, saying Luis Enrique is open to joining English clubs, but it depends on the project. He wants something long-term, not just short-term, and he wants to return as soon as possible. I think that Enrique might fit Chelsea more like a glove than Nagelsmann would if Potter was to go.
100%. I agree with that. I think they'll give him the funds. They'll allow giving the players to play the way he wants to as well. They have more opportunity to win things. At Tottenham will be different. The most important quote there for me from what he said is, "I want to join a club who wants to do important things." And for me, that tells me he wants to join a club who's able to compete for titles and Champions Leagues and stuff like that. And he wants the time to do it. And it's not going to happen at Tottenham in the short term. And I just think someone like Enrique, he's so super demanding and ambitious. I think he'll grow frustrated very quickly with the way things are done at Tottenham, and I think it'll just fall flat very quickly again. So as much as he wants things long term and all that kind of stuff, I just don't think Tottenham's the right fit right now for him.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Next up, let's talk about Emerson Royale. Ali Gold says that Emerson had surgery on his meniscus in the knee today in Brazil. Sounds like it was success, and the recovery is being estimated as between 3 and 6 weeks. Got a quote from his dad as well, who says the surgery went well. It really was the meniscus. Recovery is usually 3 to 6 weeks, but based on Royale's genetics, I believe he will recover soon. So yeah, that's the Royale situation. He's out 3 to 6 weeks.
Sooner than 3 weeks. Is that what you're saying? Because there's genetics. Well, must be some really good genetics. But look, I'm not expecting him to see that. I think we just have to move forward with the assumption that we're not going to see him again this season. If we do, it'll be a nice bonus. But hopefully he recovers as quickly as possible in time for next season. It'll be interesting to see if do you reckon he could be up for sale in the summer?
Potentially. It very much depends who the new manager comes in, and if we play a back 5, we play a back 4. I think with Spence coming back as well, it depends if the manager wants to give him a go. So it all depends. I think there's a good chance. There is a chance of it, but I think if a manager comes in and plays a back 4, there's also a very good chance of him staying.
Be interesting to see what the decision is regarding that, because maybe the fact that good run of form he has been on because we clearly found it quite hard to shift him. Although he didn't want to leave. But maybe if he is up for sale again in the summer, considering the good form he was showing just before his injury, maybe he'd be more suited for him.
I think he'll be one of the easier ones to shift at the moment, to be honest. When you're looking at the likes of Ndombele, Lo Celso, Harry Winks, these kind of players, I think he actually will be easier to shift than those guys. And if I kind of like the dynamic though of having him and Porro, where we can go attacking or defensive. I actually really like it, and that obviously leaves a question mark about Jed Spence, but there's also a question mark if he's still ready to come into Premier League football, so I'm not too sure.
I think from Emerson's point of view, I think if you're a manager who really wants to play aggressive front foot football, obviously it's nice to have that option of someone like Emerson, but who's more defensively sound. But I also feel like, again, if you're playing really attacking football, getting the wing backs really high in attacking situations, I just feel like Emerson just won't be suited to that, and he is more suited to someone like Conte, who's a bit more pragmatic.
Yeah, you could be right there. But also, I think it does give us a good option in the squad, maybe to see out games later on in the game. But if Emerson wants to play a role like that, I don't know. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. Ivan Perisic up next, and Dan Kilpatrick says that Ivan Perisic may consider his options in the summer, and Tottenham have been dealt a fresh injury blow, with Perisic a doubt to face Everton.
Fantastic. What are we going to do? I don't know what we're going to do. Any option we had in that role for the Everton game has pretty much been decimated. Look for me. Apparently Perisic came back from international duty, and he couldn't train with the first team. He's had to train separately to work on his fitness. So it doesn't seem like he's going to be ready, or at least fresh, for the game on Monday night. Although the fact that the game is Monday and not Saturday might help him, but still it seems unlikely he's going to play. So God knows what we're going to do. And I think it's only right that he's going to consider his options, because Conte was probably a big reason he came here, and now that Conte's gone, and as well we're obviously going to bring in a fresh new manager, hopefully, who's who plays more progressive football, who wants more fast-paced pressing football, that kind of thing. And does Perisic want to stick around for that? Is he kind of player who who the manager's going to pick and all that kind of stuff. Big question mark. So I understand that his future is definitely going to be up in the air in the summer for sure.
Yeah, I for one probably do hope he just moves on at this point, to be honest. But let's talk about Richarlison. The Standard, Dan Kilpatrick reporting that Richarlison is expected to be fit for the Brighton game. So at least there's some positive news there.
Okay, so there's only one more game he's missing. That is a bit more positive. Hopefully gives some more options. But again, with one game a week, I'm not too worried about our sub strikers being fit. Obviously we want depth and everything, but it's just the wing back situation is different because we literally got no one. But like with Richarlison come back, obviously it's good news, but I don't even know if he's going to start.
I reckon Danjuma might get that left wing back role against Everton.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of it. I mean, when you're looking at it, who can play there?
Don't know.
Only him, really, and he can't even play there.
Well, I would say even if we wanted to say, look, put Longley there, we can't even do that because Davis is injured, so he has to play in the back three. So I don't put Lloris there. Maybe he's a left footer. I don't know. We've got no lefties. Yeah, I guess you could put Danjuma there, but it's probably a role. Is it a role he's played for Villarreal? I don't know.
Look, at the end of the day, beggars can't be choosers right now because we've got no one in the squad that's played that role. That's fit.
Yeah. Unless I think maybe I was thinking a right wing back. I reckon like someone like Sarr could do a job there, but we don't need a right wing back. We need a left one. So I don't know. Honestly, it's. I mean, are you going to put Tanganga there? Maybe I don't know.
I'd actually prefer to see Danjuma there than Tanganga.
I would. I would Stellini. You know. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about Clement Longley. Sport are reporting that Tottenham and Barcelona are in advanced talks over a €14 million deal to sign Clement Longley on a permanent. I really hope this ain't true.
Yeah, it would be very odd to sign him on a permanent when he hasn't really convinced this season that he's the kind of defender that can push us forward. Honestly, I've said this before, I don't think he's been a disaster. I don't think he's been terrible, but when the whole point of recruitment is to improve on what you've got and push you forward. And Longley doesn't represent that. He just represents a player who can make you stay where you are, kind of stagnate and not improve you. We need big improvements in that left side centre-back role. And we're not going to improve on a top four ceiling with people like Longley as our options. Again, if he was like our backup left centre-back and we had a new left centre-back who was like really good, that could maybe be a situation where it's not too bad. But when you've got Davis and Longley just rotating and it's like two options who are both like decent but like nothing special, you're never going to progress with that. And so for me, I'd rather just keep Davis, send Longley back and have Davis as our backup and then sign a new left centre-back. That's what I would do.
I mean, when you're trying to compare Longley and Davis, obviously both of them have different strengths and different weaknesses, but in terms of actual out-and-out quality in the player, I mean, there's not really much separating them, is there?
No, it's not. It's very similar. And I even think actually like Davis is more comfortable in the wide areas. He's more comfortable in the forward areas as well. But what Longley has over Davis is a bit more composure, better passing. I think he's better at passing out the back, and I think that. What also is good at, I think, is I think defensively, like in terms of defensive quality, making tackles and things like that, I think he's a bit better. But I think positional wise, I think as that left centre back role, I think Davis is probably better. So I don't think there's a lot in it, but I'll just keep Davis. I don't see the point in signing Longley permanently unless.
It makes no sense to
why?
me.
Yeah, unless you're getting rid of Davis, but I don't think we are. So why would you do it?
Next up, a potential signing in Mason Mount, apparently, as The Athletic are claiming that Tottenham have been monitoring Mason Mount's situation at Chelsea since last summer.
Interesting.
Would you want Mason Mount through the door? And if he is coming through the door, I mean, how much would he cost?
Well, he's got a year left on his contract, but obviously him being a Chelsea boy and the fact that Chelsea probably don't want to deal with a rival, he probably would cost a lot of money, to be honest. You're probably looking at 50 million plus at least, I would say, even though he's got a year left of his contract.
Does that represent good value for Mason Mount, 50 million?
I like Mason Mount. I think that he's been on really bad form. I think this year he's been pretty bad for Chelsea. I think he hasn't really, like, this is a guy who prides himself as being an attacking midfielder who gets a good amount of goal contributions, but is also very tactically aware, and he's quite a good tactical player. You can play him in multiple positions. You can play him in a deep role. You can play him in an advanced role. You can play him a bit wider as well. I think he's a really good versatile attacking midfielder, and I think creatively he is good. I like him, but this is a guy who can't agree or deal with Chelsea because they're offering him 200 grand a week and he wants like 300. So like coming to Tottenham, would I want to give Mason Mount 300 grand a week or something?
The Mason Mount like turning down 200 grand a week. What's the world coming to? Like he's not worth more than 200 grand a week.
Yeah, but when you're, from Mason Mount's point of view, when you've been one of the main players in this team for many years, every manager seems to pick him, so he probably wants pay parity with the top earners, especially when he's got all of his contracts running down. So this is how players think. So his agent's obviously going to go for as much money as possible, and he's thinking, look, if you just signed Sterling, didn't you, who's on what, 300 grand a week, so I want pay parity with him. I'm one of your main players. You play me every game.
Yeah, but you know, he can play this game with Chelsea all he wants, but I don't think Chelsea are going to give him 300 grand a week, and I don't think he gets close to 200 grand a week if he goes elsewhere.
He might get it from Chelsea. He might get it from Chelsea.
You reckon?
He might, because it's better than selling him potentially and giving him someone else. They might think they're better off just giving him although they do have they've signed a lot of players now, so whether that affects things remains to be seen. But I think Mason Mount is one of those players who still has a bit of untapped potential, as much as he has had good seasons for Chelsea. It has gone a bit wrong recently, but I do think I would take him at Tottenham. Yeah, I would. I do. I think he's a really good player, and I think we need a player like him as well.
Next up, Sofian Amrabat. Santiauna saying that Sofian Amrabat still wants to leave Fiorentina in the summer. Atletico Madrid, Liverpool and Tottenham are still following him. I mean, do we still need someone of that ilk?
I think we're better off trying to get the best out of Basuma than going for someone like Amrabat. As much as Amrabat's good, and he obviously had a brilliant World Cup, I don't know how he's done since then. But for me, when I'm looking at the attributes of Amrabat, you could just cut and paste them and put them on Basuma. So why not just try and get the best out of Basuma?
Yeah.
So that makes that for me. If we're going to sign a midfielder, I don't want it to be another one of these kind of
We've got enough of them. We've got enough of them. We've got Højbjerg, we've got Skip, we've got Basuma, we've got Bentancur. So I think that
Sarr as well, similar.
It's true. We need to keep focusing on the key core situations at this club: the centre backs, the attacking midfielder, the goalkeeper. And then we can start looking at upgrading maybe a Højbjerg, but we've got so many other priorities that we need to be focusing on. Nevertheless, a manager and a sporting director as well. But let's end the update on some positive news for once today. And Harry and Kate Kane are expecting their 4th child, as you can see on screen there. Harry Kane put up a tweet about it yesterday, I think it was, or maybe 2 days ago now. But I just want to say congratulations to the Kanes.
Lovely news. Kane's always been a sharpshooter. There you go. Lovely.
And there you have it. That is our Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on.